Hi, everybody. Welcome to Grab Your Keys. I'm Sue Meitner, and I am here today with the amazing Michele Town. She is the branch manager of United American Mortgage Corporation and the Town Group. And I am super excited to have you today, Michele, even though you were having a little cough attack from being in that beautiful background. Michele, I have a quick question. I have a couple questions for you, and I know that you have so much wisdom to give us because of your 20 plus odd years in the mortgage industry.
29 years in
Yeah,
July.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I like 30 years,
hmm
right?
hmm
So we've seen a lot, and so as we were saying right before we got into right before we started to record, we understand how we got into this business 30 years ago, our hunger, and we're feeling that again. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into mortgage and what you love about it?
Absolutely. So I actually answered an ad to be a receptionist, and I asked too many questions and was fired and rehired as a processor. So that's how I got into the mortgage business. And then I processed for, gosh, 10 years, 10 or 15 years, and was like the top processor. I have a hunger for knowledge, like a hunger in
Right.
how to help people, a hunger how to, work within the lines that we're given, but also learn where those lines need to be pushed a little bit. And then in 2006, same old things that loan officers do or processors do. I was tired of making my loan officer money, and I ended up having to make an apology to my loan officer because I had no idea how hard it was. It was very difficult transitioning from processing to originating.
Right.
And I love what I do. I love helping people. I mean, you can see my background right now is just it's one of my whys. I thrive on the outdoors, and I thrive on anything that I can do to make the world a better place for people. And I feel like we get to do that. The responsibility of being a loan officer is super important. I mean, sometimes we're the you know, first time anybody's ever gotten a loan. So I take that responsibility very, to heart, because I want to make sure that I set the tone for the rest of the stage for the rest of their lives and their, mortgage history and their mortgage journey. And I want to make sure it's a good one.
Right. And you've been coined the doer and
hmm
always get loans figured out, your guidelines. What do you think brought you to have that niche?
That thirst for knowledge.
Thirst
Our
for knowledge.
motto is think yes. We don't believe in a no, and you can, give that to my father. When we were growing up, he always taught us to question the no's. Don't just take a no as a definite, hey, you have to a dead stop. Find out why the no is there, and then go back in and find a way to make that no a yes. So that's what, I've been raised that way, bred that way, and I took that into mortgage knowledge. I mean, it's frustrating, and I'm sure that you've seen it as well, when you're, sitting there and somebody says, "Oh, I just got declined because of this," and Sue, you and I go, "Oh my God, why didn't your loan officer do this or do this?" And that's where I become the girl who gets it done. I do get it done, and if I can't get it done, I have no problem finding somebody that can get it done. So I have no ego in this business. I know my job. I'm very good at what I do, but I'm also very humble when I don't know what I do. I'll go search for the answer, and if I can't find it, I'll make sure that they get the answer they need.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. You are coined as the girl who gets it done. And I love that. And so
hmm hmm
besides which I think we've talked about for the last couple of minutes of this podcast, a hunger for knowledge. That would
hmm
be definitely one of your three keys to success. What do you think your other two keys to success are?
Dedication. I do not. I mean, and communication. Dedication, communication, and hunger. Um, I believe that everybody in the transaction needs to know what's going on up to, your point of fiduciary responsibility, right? There's never a question. People don't walk into the weekends not knowing what's going on in their loans. We always send out a Friday update. It's very generic, but we want them to know that we got their back. my clients know when I say, I've got you, let me do the stressing for you. They know that I've got their back. We always all lose clients, right, that go somewhere else, but 90% of my clients come back because they'll be like, oh, it was the worst experience. It wasn't worth the eighth veteran rate. Your service levels are, extraordinary. And that's what we look for. We look for extraordinary people that work with us. We look for extraordinary clients. And if they're not quite extraordinary yet, we make them extraordinary. And we make them understand that the process of this can be fun. Although it's stressful, it can definitely be fun.
Right. I love that. And I love how you said, the communication, the dedication, the hunger. I just had somebody right before we got onto this podcast that said, hey, the mortgage company that I went with, a builder's mortgage company, just told me I have to put a substantial amount of money down. And I didn't know how they were approving them. And I said, yeah, that's what I thought. And let's now see how we can get you into a better product, and still get that builder concession at the same time. But it's also, allowing that bird to fly away so that they come back sometime, because you only have your reputation and your ethics once. And sometimes when you give the right answer, another mortgage person is giving the not right answer because they want the deal and they don't care that they're going to come back and give them another poor answer. So I think that because we've been in the business for so long, upfront do what's right. And that's why I say not all lenders are created equal. And this just illustrates just that. And exactly what you're saying. You want the people to be extraordinary. And if they're not, you make them extraordinary. And it's because of your knowledge and it not being as stressful and to have some fun. That's why, we do what we do and we love what we do.
And I always tell people, remember, it's think yes. I don't always say yes. I gotta figure a way to make that a yes. And sometimes those answers are the harder answers of, no, you can't do that, but let me show you what you can do. One of my dressage coaches, if anybody knows anything about horses, I was riding this horse and I was very militant, very, mechanical on the horse. And, you pay this person, a couple $100 to come to their seminar. And you come down center line and halt and salute. That's what we do in our dressage classes. And the instructor was quiet, and I'm like, oh my God, I must have really messed up on this. Oh my gosh. And she goes, why do you keep telling your horse what he can't do? Why don't you show him what he can do? And I honestly took that. I mean, I bawled my eyes out that day, but because he's the sweetest horse in the world. But I also sat there and went, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing to my clients. And that was about, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. And I changed and I started listening to what they're saying and listening to their pain and, just understanding what they're going through means a lot. And hearing them saying, I hear what you're saying. Let me see what we can do to find a solution. I'm telling you, you'll have a client for life. That's when you make them extraordinary. That's when they, you become extraordinary in their eyes. You become their person of wisdom. They call you and say, hey, my friend is going through this loan. Can you help them? And, Sue, when I get somebody that's in the middle of a loan that's falling apart, I don't try to take the loan. I actually ask them if I can get the loan officer on the and try to figure it out with them, because, that integrity piece is there for me. Of course I want the loan, who wouldn't? But I also know that sometimes the better solution is to take the back seat and give your answer to somebody to help them.
But I love what you said just now that, sometimes you have to be the expert and give the solution, even if it's to another mortgage company, because in the long run, we just want people to be happy with their mortgage process. And I did the same thing last week. It was with a self-employed borrower, and they were using a debt that they didn't need to use. And they were saying she couldn't get the house. And I said, look, let me get them on the phone and let me give them the solution. Because if I take your loan, I can't close it next week. You're going to lose your deposit. So let me treat you. They've already done as much as they can. So I think that really is setting the professionals and the experts apart. Because, we just want the people to have a good experience, and we know that it will come back. That door will open and it will come back to us. And I love what you were saying. So your hunger, 3 keys: hunger, dedication, which you're so dedicated in everything that you do. I admire you for that. And then your communication is having systems and processes in place, I would assume, so that they're getting that Friday telephone call telling them, don't worry. Now, do you call the borrower and the realtors?
Correct. We're communicating with the client and the realtors and escrow. So we want
Right.
everybody to know so what's going on. So like if we know that we're coming up on let's say we have a fast close, a 15-day close, we want escrow to know, hey, our CD was ordered, and our first available date for closing is going to be Monday. So you're going to be getting a call to balance your file on Monday. So they're prepared too. There are a lot of times, and Sue, I don't know about you, where escrow is like, these closings are happening so fast that escrow doesn't even have their paperwork back yet. So we want them to make sure escrow title have all their paperwork and all the deeds that the seller needs to sign up front. So we don't just hit them all at once on one day and say, oh, we've got to close tomorrow. And how everything rolls downhill. I feel sorry for escrow sometimes because they're the ones who get, they're the bottom of the pile. And we're the ones saying, hey, they got to sign today. Our lock expires tomorrow, and you're closing tomorrow. Sorry. So I do it with a smile.
Of course. So you're in Colorado, right? Where are you? Tell us where you are.
I am in Berthoud, Colorado right now. The majority of my business, though, is still in California. We do business in Colorado, and I just updated my licenses in a few other states. A lot of my clients are aging out like I am and are retiring out of state, and that's why I chose to update my licensing in other states. I do want to talk about that hunger, though, for a second, because I know we talked about
That's
it at
what
the
I wanted to
beginning,
talk
but
about
I
too.
don't think we were recording. Yeah,
Where we
as an originator, um, one of the things I listen to, I'm a knowledge grabber, so I listen to everything that I can, podcasts, videos, coaching. I do everything that I can to stay relevant with my clients, um, as knowledgeable as I can. And one of the things that somebody reminded me of is when you first get into the business, if you remember, we were doing those outbound calls. I think,
the hunger. We were talking about because we had a little blip. We were talking
sure.
about the hunger of when we first got into the business, outbound calls, realtor Popeyes, thinking
Mhm.
outside the box.
Just reminding yourself of when you were first started, you didn't have a database, right? So you didn't have realtors. So what did you do? And why is that different now? Why are we not calling our realtors? Why are we not calling our clients? Why are we not making those, outbound calls that we need to make to build our business? I mean, we're with the market being down a little bit, we actually are in a build year. So we should be making all those things. And remember, I had no fear, none. I had no fear of my phone when I was starting out. I would just call and call. Hi, I'm Michelle. Why should I use you? Oh, because you know what? I think outside the box. Give me your turn downs before a client goes bad, or a loan goes bad or a deal goes sideways. Call me and let's see if we can find a solution for your client. And we've forgotten that art. We've forgotten the art of being hungry. And a lot of us, especially, I'm going to talk about myself. Being in the business 30 years, sometimes I think I know it all, and I don't. This is a very fluid business. This business changes all the time. New products are rolling out, product guidelines change. Sometimes we need to ask those questions and ask the right questions to the client, and you're going to find a solution there. I truly believe, Sue, there is a solution for every problem. Whether or not that's going to meet for them financially, only your client can answer that. But there is a solution for almost every mortgage challenge that comes up.
Yeah, I 1000% agree with you. And you said that you have a thirst for knowledge and you're listening to podcasts, obviously, besides Grab Your Keys.
Yes.
What is the podcast that you are listening to now that you just are finding so much knowledge from? Like, or what book have you been reading that you found, joy in?
So the book, let me get the book well, I mean, I'm a big believer and I reread all the time Jack Canfield.
Oh, I love Jack Canfield.
I just remind myself of, you know, what makes us successful,
Yes, the
right?
principles of
Um,
success.
exactly. I mean, and that is so important. And then the other book, gosh, where did that book go? I'm trying to remember what the book is. I just finished. It was exactly what to say.
Oh, it's
So
so funny that you have to say that because I am. Look, we both do the same thing. We're like, where's that book?
where's my book?
I have exactly what to say. Well, I have this exactly what to say.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, that's the real. That's the ones I actually mail out to my
And I'm going
realtors.
to send
Gosh,
you this one, results faster.
oh, I love that. I love that. I tell you something. I sent that exactly what to say book after we did our MME retreat to my top 10 realtors. I got 10, oh my God, amazing thank yous. Because they were like, I mean, it's just, we get in a rut sometimes and we don't know what to say, or we think we don't know what to say. And, that book pretty much has given you the blueprint of what to say and how to start a conversation when you don't know what to say. I mean, Sue, think about it when you're talking to originators. What's the number one thing? I don't know what to say to them. I haven't talked to them in a year. What do I do? You start off saying, gosh, and make it a joke. Oh my gosh, I
Right.
haven't been doing my job. So sorry.
Yeah, I love that book, exactly what to say, and I love that you can refer to those books, and I do think that podcasts are easy to listen to when you're in the car, and I always get great nuggets from different podcasts, even if you just pull any knowledge, even if it's outside if it's outside your industry, any industry, for sales and leadership really
Mhm.
does help, better ourselves. And I also thirst for knowledge, and I
Mhm.
think that's why we're both in mme, which is the Mortgage Mastermind Elite with Cindy, is because we have a thirst for knowledge and we respect each other.
Mhm.
And the amount of knowledge in all of those calls, or all of those retreats, or all of those different rooms that we've been in over the years, give us not only a thirst for knowledge, but a positive energy that in any
Mhm.
environment we can call on each other for that strength. And I think that
Right.
that's super important for everyone to have in any industry,
I
and to
agree.
know your tribe.
Oh, I agree a million percent. I mean, to think that, it's kind of like the universe, to think that the universe is much larger than us, and so is this industry. There is so much knowledge out there. My first, I don't know, first 3 or 4 years, I was like, I mean, I followed Shelley Logaman around and just said, "Can I just sit with you? I need
Yeah.
to hear what you're saying and just understand what was going on." And how cool is that she let me do that? And I was like this, eager beaver just asking questions. I probably drove her crazy, but it was so amazing. And now we have the internet that wasn't around when I first started. It was just coming. I mean, we just got off dial up. So, you
Right.
know, now you have so much knowledge that you can research, the things that you can listen to. My favorite podcast has nothing to do with mortgages, though. It's Crime Junkies. So I just like to, take my brain off of it. Sometimes I need to take my brain off of mortgages, but I
So
love
who
what I
do
do, though.
so what type of, I know what outlet that you have because I know you, but what's your
Mhm.
outlet to relax besides listening to that podcast? And two questions, and who do you admire?
Oh, so my outlet is I ride. I
Yeah.
have my horses in my ranch, so I'm outdoors. So I derive my energy from the sunlight. So the more that I can be outdoors, I mean, I'll be out there talking to clients while I'm walking my horse. And it's not that I'm not thinking about my clients. I actually get my best thoughts when I'm outside with not, bombarded with the 50,000 emails that are coming in, the text messages that are coming in. So
I
I
love
love
that.
and thrive the outdoors. I
And I
do a
love
lot
that
of
you
walking.
have felt that, and you do what and know where your energy is best. I love that.
Right. Um, so who do I admire? I honestly admire a lot of people in this industry, but I super admire my boss right now, Al Hensling. He has taught me. He um, he gave me the finishing touches, and it's very difficult to meet someone. When he hired me, I was being recruited by a bunch of people, and I knew I had to make a change. But do you know what he asked me that made me stand out. I made him stand out. He says, "What can I help you do to retire?" Nobody had ever asked me that. Everybody had asked me, how am I going to help you make, 100 million? Well, I don't want to say I don't need your help for that. I have the drive and I have the systems in place to do that. But I needed somebody to think about me. And he is so eloquent. I would love to have him on this podcast one day, and I'm sure he would do it for you.
I
He
would
is,
love that.
yeah, he's incredible. He's poised. Pretty much any challenge that's come up, he's probably run into, because he's been doing this, 40 or 50 years. And he made me understand what being extraordinary was and what that responsibility was.
Yeah. So I love the word extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a school in North Carolina called High Point University. My children did not go there, but we toured it. And their phrase was that extraordinary is ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Here, there. And I love that they just make every one of their students extraordinary. And I just thought that was amazing, that when you come into a school that you can feel the energy of that. And it's a great word. So besides working towards retirement, so and riding your horses, and you just got married and you're going on your honeymoon.
Yes.
Super exciting. What's in the future for Michele?
Oh, the future for Michele is, I'm going to continue to do loans for a while. I'd like to tell you I'm going to retire in 5 years, but that's, let's face it, we're workers. I was bred to work, and I don't know that I can retire, officially, but I would like to, downsize a little bit, or pass my knowledge in. I like to coach. I like to help younger people coming in not make the same mistakes that I made. One of the things, Sue, when I started, there was no leadership. And and it's becoming important nowadays, more so than it was, 20 years ago. But, to know that I'm not alone. When I make a mistake on a loan, I don't need anybody to beat me up. I do a really good job at that myself. But to know that, I'm not the only one that made that mistake. I want to make sure that people know that we're going to make mistakes. We're human beings. It's the matter of how you overcome that mistake. Do you, own that you made a mistake? The number one thing that I see people do is, push it off to somebody else. No, own your mistake. You made it. It's okay, but fix it. Find the solution and give it to them.
Absolutely. I love that. And I always say, like, when I make mistakes, I make big mistakes.
Yeah.
And I have to take it on. When it's a mistake, it's a big one. And but knowing how to address that mistake and then handle the solution for that mistake is so important. But I think that the most important thing that you said today, so many important things, is in the market, the hunger, and that finding the solution for a yes. I feel that in all this entire environment today, everybody just says no so fast. And I think to change that mindset to, okay, well, it's a no, but how can we make it a yes? And what do we have to work towards to make it a yes? If there's one thing that anyone can take away, that is a great thing that somebody can take away. So Michele, thank you so much for being on Grab Your Keys today. We have amazing guests that are booked through the new year. So I can't wait for everyone to hear everyone's knowledge, but you've imparted so much on us today. So everyone, just remember that there are 3 keys to Michele's success, and so much more is hunger, dedication, and communication. And I can't wait to see you next time on Grab Your Keys.